What's going on, button pushers? So I got this thing in the mail yesterday, and it has the potential to turn any lens into an autofocus lens. This is the DJI 3D focus system. Let's talk about it.
ありがとうございました。
If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I'm just going to jump straight into the video today because it's a super quick one and there's not that much to talk about. So for me, for some reason, I don't know why, but I was going through and I just didn't know how to set it up. So before setting it up, you guys want to make sure that you have your firmware up to date for the Ronin S2 because they did a firmware release for it so that it could be compatible with the 3D focus system. There's a video. 1 minute and 30-second video to watch, and it'll help you set up the entire thing super quick. I don't know why, but it took me 3 hours. Don't be me. Anyways, setting up the actual 3D system physically is super easy. You put it on top of your camera, you connect it to the Ronin S2, and then you connect it to the focus motor. After that, you're all set. You gotta do the firmware update and all the technical stuff in the Ronin S2, which you can find out from the video, which is super simple. I'll link it in the description below. And then you're ready to go. You can change between autofocus and manual focus with the touch of a button on the top here. It says the AF/MF button. And you can calibrate up to 3 lenses and save them on the Ronin S2 so it remembers all the stuff so that you don't have to go and recalibrate everything. But calibrating was one of the more difficult parts. So pretty much what I forgot to do was to focus at each depth that it told me to go through. So it's going to ask you, it's going to do the initial calibration, it's going to ask you what focal length the lens is, and then it's going to tell you to focus on a subject at different distances. So I forgot to focus on the subject at those different distances, and I just kind of walked through those distances because it wasn't that clear to me, or maybe I just didn't read right, but that's what I missed. And once everything's set up, it works surprisingly well. You can see in this footage that it kind of keeps up pretty good. And honestly, how it works, I think, is it just has these 2 sensors at the top right here, and those sensors are going to kind of like detect and see distance between you and the subject and whatever this is. Actually, it's going to be detecting the distance between your subject and itself, and it's going to be using that to kind of work through and focus depending on how you calibrated your camera. Make sure when you're calibrating your lens, you do it on point. Like when you're focusing, make sure it is absolutely sharp, and you can use focus peaking for this and all of that stuff because it's definitely going to help, because if you calibrate it wrong, the 3D focus system is going to be all weird and won't focus correctly. But honestly, that's kind of what makes it a little bit less reliable than a real autofocus lens, because it's not based on what your camera sees but what the 3D focus system sees, and sometimes that could be off and sometimes it could be on point, but you never know. But at the same time, it's really nice to have, especially when you're operating by yourself, to be able to turn any manual lens into an autofocus lens, because that means you can have a more light, compact build, and you're not going to need to have like a nucleus M handle out here and all that stuff in a big bulky build. You can kind of like narrow it down and just keep it very simple on the Ronin S2 with just a 3D system, a focus motor, and even the Raven Eye transmission system. And it's super simple and super light compared to what it could be if you didn't have this 3D focus system. So honestly, the 3D system is an absolute blessing for a lot of people like me who have to end up shooting by themselves and maybe might want to use a manual focus lens. Would I use something like this on a high movement shoot where, you know, the subject is moving all over the place and the situation isn't really known or controlled? Maybe not, because I'm not too sure how well this is going to perform in something like that, because it's just a lot of movement, and the 3D focus system itself is what needs to be seeing the subject, and if it's moving all over the place, it might not be working that well. But paired with the Ronin S tracking and the whole Raven transmission system, maybe it'll do good, but at the same time maybe it won't, and at the same time maybe those movements aren't what I want in the shot, you know? So it might be a little bit harder when it comes down to a situation like that. But having this at all for any manual lenses is going to be absolutely amazing, because again, in situations like, you know, where I'm in a lot, being by myself, shooting on a manual lens, having the capabilities and having this in my arsenal just in case I wanted to do it, it's going to be amazing. And it's really good to have, especially at a price point of $170 US. It's really good. It's cheap and it works really well, and it's going to change a lot for you if you need it. However, it's still got the flaw of the DJI Ronin S2 focus motor, where sometimes the focus motor isn't long enough to even hit the lens, and that's really annoying. And that's why I actually had to use the R5 to test run this, and I had to shoot the B-roll on my Komodo. I can't shoot it on the C70, I can't shoot it on the 1DX3 because it's just not long enough. And I think they really need to fix that, like add some adjustable rod or something, or a different plate for the Ronin S2, because if this keeps up, I'm not going to be able to use it for many of my cameras to begin with, because a lot of my cameras are pretty tall or the lenses are pretty long, and it just doesn't work out. So they need to add some rod extensions or something, anything at all, to really fix that problem. Anyways, that is all for today's video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Drop me a comment below. What are you going to use this for? What kind of situations are you in, and do you think that the 3D focus system is going to be good for you? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. Keep pushing buttons, guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.